She looked all strong and cool at first.
Yeah!
And then she immediately crumbled. Welcome to episode 50 of the Amb Ant Podcast. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Amber.
And we are back to talk about Jigokuraku, otherwise known as Hell's Paradise.
Yes, Jigokuraku.
That's what I said.
Basically, like, it's not that difficult, so yes.
Oh, that's true. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel for the YouTube algorithm.
YouTube.
Very good. So what was this one about? Since this was your choice.
Oh god, I hate doing some synopses. Like, how do you say synopsis in like plural form? I'm just gonna assume that it's synopses. I could be completely off. I don't like summarizing things. But what is it about? It's about the main character. His name is Gabimaru, and people call him Garan no Gabimaru, which is a like hollow Gabimaru, because apparently he is this cold-blooded killer, like assassin ninja person in his village. And then he is not only cold-blooded, but he has superpowers of some sorts that have like, I don't know, fire from hell, I guess. And then he has a, is it konyakusha? Like, is it fiance or wife? Wife. Okay, then he has a wife who seems to be the daughter of the head of the village, I feel like. It seems like it. I'm not too sure. Again, we've only watched the first 3 episodes. So in the first 3 episodes, the first episode is basically about him being, like, it's not really him being executed. Like, people are trying to execute him, but then he is just impossible to be killed no matter what they do. But then suddenly they found this girl who is, I guess, like a professional executioner, like Sagiri, who, like, the girl's name is like from this lineage of executioners, I guess. And then he suddenly like felt fear and then like kind of like fought back. And in that, Sagiri was basically like, you never wanted to die anyways. So then they're going to send him on this mission to either, like, he's just gonna die there, or he's going to complete the mission to find the, like, elixir of life to, like, live forever kind of thing. So then him with a bunch of other people who are condemned to death are sent on this mysterious island, which, like, is so beautifully designed. And then, and it's kind of like a battle royale, I want to say, but then it's not that like battle royale because they're not actively trying to kill each other. They're just competitors to, I guess, find the elixir first. And then there's a bunch of like executioners who is in charge of like one bad person, quote unquote, like criminal bad person, each. So then he is trying to win and then go back to his wife.
Right. That pretty much sums it up. I would like to add that it seems so when they find the elixir of life, they are granted their freedom from death row. So basically, they're already sentenced to die. They did something bad, or they might not have. They're just there. For example, like that one like girl who's like, who was just discriminated against or something like that, and then she was like, she didn't do anything, but she's just on death row for no reason. So
yep. Basically that.
They all have their backstories for whatever. Yeah.
And that is my biggest problem. Like, the backstory part, I was telling you and telling my other friend, EREN, who is probably listening to this, our only listener who always listens to us. I'm so happy.
Well, judging by the comments, maybe our only.
Yeah. EREN, hello. But yeah, I was just complaining to her like a few days ago because like I've known about this manga for a long time, and I like revisited the manga like when we were watching it, and I was like, oh my god, the art, I really like the art. But then I really don't like the pacing because of the backstories. It's the placement of the backstories rather than the existence of it. Like, I was making the comparison with One Piece because actually One Piece has a shit ton of backstories of not only the main crew, but also like in every arc, oftentimes like the more important people of that arc, like Rebecca from Dressrosa, like BB from Alabasta, like a lot of random people. We get to see their backstories. But then it's not bombarding like all in the first few episodes. We only watched 3 episodes and I've already seen so many people's backstories. It's not just the 2 main characters, which is already really rich. It's also the other people who are forced to be on this island that I have not like formed a personal connection with yet, but then we get to see too much of them like back in the day. What do you think?
Right. I mean, I think it's interesting that you brought up One Piece is because I remember early One Piece, we got to see everyone's backstory, like, pretty much immediately after they were introduced.
But then But then we are not introduced to them all at once. We get introduced to them in, like, you know, just in different arcs. Like, it's a good, like, feeling of just, like, kind of knowing someone a little and then knowing that person's backstory rather than, like, we don't even know, like, the first day on the island, we didn't even get to see that and we already saw, like, 3 people's backstories, you know? And I was like...
Yeah, basically we saw their backstory or they died and then we still saw some, whatever. Like, it just... There's a lot of like exposition going on. There's a lot of just kind of showing us literally everything and more. Leaves very little to the imagination.
Which exposition? I was gonna say exposition. God, I can't even speak. But yeah, exposition. I feel like it's kind of like you as the writer or the manga artist in this case, like you're supposed to... Also, I just also want to say, because we only watched the anime, I'm not too sure if this is exactly how the manga is portrayed. Like, maybe the pacing is different. Maybe, like, it's because, like, this is only 13 episodes and then they're just trying to get, like, a lot of information into the first few episodes. So, I'm not trying to criticize this work as a whole, but then, like, only talking about my personal experience watching the anime. Like, I just feel like most of the time it's like you as a creator should know a lot of the backstory and then you're supposed to drop hints. Like, it's the best feeling for an audience or a reader to feel like, oh, I start suspecting certain things. And then you get the reveal that, oh, it is like that, or like it's something else or something. Like, that's like the best feeling to either get your suspicions like confirmed or like, oh my god, it's a twist. And it feels really good, but then it's too fast almost. It's too fast and too slow. Like, the real time is too slow. Like, whatever is happening on the island, I want to see more. Like, I keep on saying, like, when we're watching it, like, oh my god, go back to the island. Like, oh, I want to see the fights. Like, I love the monsters on, like, monsters/gods. But, like, it's too fast in terms of, like, introducing everyone as they're like, oh, they're a full character with a lot of hardships in the past. Like, I hope that the creator knows that and then like just incorporates that without having to just shove it into me so fast.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a common... Well, I mean, I wouldn't know exactly, but it just feels like a newbie writer kind of just trying to like over explain everything at first because it's like unsure how it all fits together in his head. So he's like kind of, oh, why don't I just show why it would fit together rather than just like slowly revealing, like kind of because I was comparing it to early One Piece, given that like I think we learned a lot about those characters early on, whereas I think as the story went on, we were seeing like this is maybe like less and less backstory. I haven't really caught up, but yeah. Not sure.
I don't agree with the like lack of backstory because I feel like even in like Wano Kuni, and then I didn't really catch up with later, but then Wano at least like it's not. There is still a lot of backstory, and I really enjoy it. Like whenever there are backstories, I just cry. It's like typical me. But then it's like I already am invested in the character before I know their backstory. So then the impact of the backstory would hit harder.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, like what you said about like him or her, I don't really know the actual identity of this author, but like them being a newbie writer, it's exactly what EREN said. Like, it feels not confident. It's like, I need to tell you this much information because, like, if I don't, you wouldn't know. It's like, you need to, like, show it. It's like, oh, I already thought of this kind of, like, insecurity that is kind of, like, shining through in this pacing. But again, maybe it's the anime. I don't really know. But,
right. It's like when Gabimaru's like he's the hollow. He's supposed to not feel any emotions or whatever, and then we're shown like scenes of him like not showing any emotions. He's a stone-blooded, stone cold killer. And then at the same time, like his shell gets breached, I guess, pretty quickly. Or
that I'm not too bothered by, but actually that reminded me of, like, me being bothered. I'm more bothered by, like, the side characters that I'm like, I don't care yet. It's like, I'm sure I will care later, but, like, not yet. Like, I don't want to know about the brothers, for example. But what you just said was actually a really important, like, interesting point, and I was like, oh my god, I actually agree now that you pointed it out, because I don't know if you've ever watched/read Rurouni Kenshin, which was like localized as Samurai X, like back in the day.
Nope. I've
like
watched
old.
Samurai Jack though.
Anyways, I have no idea what that is. But like
Okay.
Samurai X is like a kind of 80s/90s anime/manga that I really, really liked back in the day, but that there are also, controversies, like the author later was like a pedophile, so I'm not going to talk about that, so a lot of people are like banning it. Anyways, but like how they, in Samurai X, it was established that the main character had a past of being like this assassin, being super cold-blooded, being like, just this killing machine. But then we don't really see that. Like, we only see him being kind of like, like lighthearted, and he's just going about life, and then like, sometimes fighting, but then all of his fights are like not that serious kind of thing. And that is something I really appreciated because like we didn't really get bombarded with the feeling like, oh my god, that was how he was back in the day. It's like slowly but surely, like we get to know more and more about his past. Like even though we knew that like how other people talked about him, it's like, and then when we get glimpses of his past, it feels really cool. Like, oh my god, he was so different back in the day. Like, he was like just killing people, and I shouldn't say it's cool, but then it looks really cool because like it's so different from how we as the audience knew him in the beginning of the story. And that feels earned. And this feels too easy. I kind of feel like.
Yeah, I think I remember just seeing. Okay, so one, like, it's this one I think is only getting like 12 or 13 episodes, 13. So maybe that's why they have to like fit in everything very fast, otherwise
possibly.
We do find out a lot about Gabimaru. It does feel fast. They could have omitted a lot of the like kind of filler.
Or,
it just feels like this,
or just
a
like
lot of
too
filler.
much like flashbacks. It's like it's not filler. I don't agree with you at all that it's filler. It's just too much like just go on with the one timeline. Like it keeps on like going back to different points in life. Like, oh, when he, for example, was talking to his wife, when he was first being kind to his wife, when this person was first doing something, when they were a child. There are too many freaking like small like not leeways, like just points in time, and I'm like, I don't care yet. Like, holy, just let me just see them struggling on the island, fighting the big monsters, knowing each other.
Would you say like it would be a lot better if they just like did something cool and then you see it, rather than you just see it and then you're like, okay, we're supposed to enjoy these characters' backstories because we saw them. Like, we just saw them.
Yeah, it's like doing something cool or like interacting. Like, they barely interacted. Only the female, like, Konoichi, like, the female ninja, like, met with this group. Like, other than that, we didn't really see much interaction. Like, the brothers, we didn't even see the brothers like talk to the main character yet. So then to me as an audience, like on this island that he can be killed like next episode, I don't care enough to know. Like, even though, again, I as I told you, I read the last few chapters, so I kind of like know who's important or who gets killed or not. But anyways, like, if I didn't know that, like there's barely any motivation for me to be invested. Like, and then, like, I just not only need them to be cool, I need them to feel significant to the plot and to the main characters. Like, I feel like I have some investment in the main character, Gabimaru. I don't really have, which also is another problem. I don't really like the girl yet. Like, oh my god, what's her name again? I keep on forgetting. Sagiri? Sagiri.
Sagiri? Yeah. I think so.
I don't, she's like currently kind of just maybe like mentally weak, therefore weak. And then I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, I would like to see more Gabimaru. Sagiri seems like she's not useful right now, however, that might change. The female assassin, or female ninja, feels a little bit like just the attractive girl character you throw in because
with boobs. Yeah, agreed.
Because you have to. And then, I mean, the monster design is pretty cool though. Like, you got hands for eyes and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean,
I love all the like big, like, are they monsters? Are they god? We don't know yet, but then like it's so cool. Like, it really reminds me of Jujutsu Kaisen, even though like I already I came into this knowing that the studio is Mappa, who is the like studio doing Jujutsu Kaisen, which even though like I have a lot of things I didn't like about it, but I really, like, in general, as like a new Shonen Jump work, I liked it. So then, yeah, I was just really excited. I really liked the opening. I was really excited about it, but then to me, I feel like I might keep on following it, but then I just feel like it's so... at least the first 3 episodes, the pacing is all over the place, and it kind of makes me feel like it didn't have that impact of Jujutsu Kaisen that made me like interested, like in the beginning kind of thing. Like, I want to see more. It's more like, oh my god, I guess they will be important.
Yeah, I kind of I don't understand the power scaling a little bit. At least in Jujutsu Kaisen, I also didn't understand the power scaling a little bit, but it's like slowly revealed. However, this one feels like they are somewhat human. However, they're also not. Like, they're like superhumans, right?
Yeah, especially the main character.
Yeah, apparently he can like tighten the muscles in his neck last second and then like prevent a sword from chopping it. And then he can also like survive flames and survive smoke. I'm not sure how. Was it explained how?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, he's like invincible almost.
But then he probably can be killed by the female lead. You know, that's why he was like suddenly scared. But then,
right?
Yeah, like I
didn't like that. I really didn't like that because she looks all strong and cool at first,
and
then she immediately crumbled.
Yeah, it's too close together, so then it's very obvious that it's like weird.
It's just a little convenience, you know, that she's like very strong, gives off a lot of pressure even to the main character.
Yeah,
he has to fight her like sword and all, and then after they get on the island, it's his show.
Yeah, so then it's kind of like, to my understanding, I was like thinking like, oh, it's because like she's mentally like there blocks that kind of stop her from showing her true powers. But then I kind of get annoyed because like clearly she at least like had that potential to threaten the main character, and then it's like now she's kind of like, oh my god, just leave this island. Everyone is telling her to leave the island because it's kind of like, oh my god, you're kind of useless, you're a burden. But then also we also know that like if you left the island you're dead. But still, like, it's kind of annoying, and I hate it when like female characters are always like fulfilling that role of like, god, can you just be independent and like be okay already? Like, why is it always like, you know, there's always something stopping them from being who they truly are, which is whatever, a trope.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked, well, how would it not be a trope then for a female like main character? There's a lot, right? So I feel like I don't see tropes in the same way that you do, and we've talked about tropes before in previous episodes, but like to me, like, would you also have an issue with like the girl ninja? Because she's like the
I think it's
seductress.
I think it's
she's
tropey.
Like the like tons of cleavage showing.
But I don't dislike that.
I mean, same, but
no,
but like,
I think that was different reasons. Okay, like I don't dislike it, but then it's a trope. I definitely think it's a trope, but I don't think it's something that bothers me personally. That's all. I don't like it when it's like, oh, they're supposed to be strong. It's like either they're like more manly than men, or they're like, it's only because they have a struggle. And I'm like, oh my god, just show your powers without being like either like, oh, I have to flaunt it. So, like, I need to show that I'm just that. Those are like the tropes I don't like. It's not that like other things aren't tropes, like. Because, like, in my brain, I suddenly also, like, thought of, like, oh, female as healers. Like, yeah, sometimes that gets annoying, but, like, to me, that's not a trope that I personally dislike. I just don't like it when it's like, oh, they're so strong, but we just don't see it. Or they're so strong that they're, like, even though their physiology clearly wouldn't fight against some random man character. Is like boom boom, and I'm like, oh, sure, like, yeah,
right. It's like yeah, I mean, those tropes are kind of a little questionable. However, it's like the consistency of the story didn't really match up too well, because I felt like it was too kind of all over the place. So Gabimaru goes from kind of having to dodge her attacks to just like, she's so far behind she can't even realize how strong he is. Like when they're fighting, so Gabimaru fights the other prisoner in front of the two executioners. So in that episode we were watching, like, he's just handcuffed, and like she's like, oh, you can't you have to cuff your hands. He's like, why? And then she's like, okay, no, just do it. And then I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. He takes out the other prisoner super easily, hands cuffed. And then she's like, okay, cool. And then they're just going on. And then the other executioner is like warning her about him. I remember this, right? And then he walks off. She's just chilling with him. Then she has the sudden thought that like, oh, what if he betrays her? And then he betrays her. And then they fight. And then she realizes she's outmatched. Only just then. And then it's like, oh, well, you couldn't have foreseen this. You couldn't have already saw that this was an issue.
Or the system.
Like, he's just stronger than
the system is strange. Like, shouldn't, like, knowing that these prisoners are super freaking strong. Like, literally, the girl is the weakest of the whole clan.
She's the weakest.
Right,
like, she's the worst ranked, and she's dealing with
the strongest.
Best guy.
Yeah, and I'm like,
that doesn't actually match up.
Yeah,
it's too convenient, right? So, like, and then like at first, like, we saw her be really strong in front of him. So then it's like, you would have expected her to be like top dog, right? Like, you know, maybe second in command or something. Like, except it turns out she's the weakest, and she's assigned to the strongest, who they know is, you know, super cracked, like, the best. It doesn't exactly line up. It's a little convenient. Just, pushing the plot forward, but...
Yeah, I don't think...
It's alright.
I was as bothered as you were, because I remember you talking about this during it, but then, like, I definitely agree that it's kind of, like, it doesn't, like, make any goddamn sense. Like, even for, the higher-ups to assign her with him, then, like, no, like, they should, like, switch her out. So, like, this is a terrible idea. And it's, like, I guess it's just more interesting because it's, like, the underdog, so then she can grow throughout this journey, and I'm like, yay, like, I root for her. But then, at the same time, I feel like it's kind of, it's too convenient, or it's like, it's a trope that I don't like. That's all. Like, it's just, I'm sure a lot of people like it, because I've seen, like, this is a ship, like, for the girl, like, not Sayuri. I keep on forgetting her name.
Sagiri.
Sagiri. And then, and Gabimaru, like, it's a ship that a lot of people are rooting for, even though he has a wife, which is also something that I don't really like. Like, maybe I'm just super traditional. Like, if he has a wife, I don't want him to have, like, that kind of romantic, like, oh, I can't kill her, like, she's special to me kind of feeling. Like, maybe, again, I'm just super, like, traditional and a little, like, conservative in that sense. Like, and I'm like, no, just, like, you're literally doing this. Yeah. And then you're literally doing this to, like, meet your wife again. Like, how can you just be like, but then this girl, like, she
sounds like my wife.
Yeah. She said the same thing. And I'm like, a lot of people say the same goddamn thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess she's, like, attractive, so you can't kill her off. Because that would, I mean, it's just too convenient. But,
But, again, like, things
to me, like,
that, all of a sudden, I, like, thought of something that I kind of was bothered, like, by, but now that we're kind of mentioning it, it's too edgy. It's like, it's edgy, but, like, in the sense that's a little cringe. Like, I am one for edgy shit. Like, I love Death Note. I like Jujutsu Kaisen. I like a lot of edgy shit. But then, like, this is, like, edgy without the real edge. It's like, oh, everyone is, like, suffering. And then it's like, for him to not kill her, it's like, oh, it's because she said the same thing as my wife, rather than being like, oh, she's hot. Like, she's hot. Like, I kind of like her because she's hot. Like, she's cute. Or things like that. It's like, oh, it's because of some deep ass shit that I'm like, no, like, if you're actually trying to be deep, there are a shit ton of things to be deep about. And then this is, like, not... it's like, it's not actually deep, at least to me, because like I saw a lot of comments on my anime list saying how like this is about life and death and grief and like things like that, and I'm like, yeah, like maybe I didn't like watch it enough, but then to me it's like, it's very much so all the negativity and like edgy shit is like aesthetic rather than like actual like deep things.
For sure. I mean, it definitely looks nice.
Yeah.
Like it's very well made, so it's very aesthetic. Like,
no, I'm
all
just
the
saying
monsters are
that
very
like
well made.
also edginess is like an aesthetic rather than something that is deep rooted in the story to me, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really buy it.
Sure. I mean, would you say like you're not like would it be better if it was more suited to the power scaling? Because like for me, I'm just like I'm one for the power scaling.
Yeah, I know that you're
competitiveness. Like because it's like if it's a competition, then I'm like trying to look at the competition, like who's gonna win. I really like the tournament stuff and stuff like that. So, like Battle Royale is great as well.
Have you ever read Battle Royale?
Nope.
I love Battle Royale, the novel.
Yeah.
And the movie,
like,
yeah. And I was actually thinking about that. I think, like, I like Battle Royale's kind of edginess. It's like, oh, even though, like, the original novel is like they're all, like, in the same class, they're supposed to be friends, but then they, like, betray each other and whatnot. Here, we don't really get so much, like, betraying other than, like, the main two characters. It's more kind of just, like, again, edgy because like, oh, they had a traumatic past kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. But okay. Like, well, what's going to happen then? But
yeah, I mean, I'm sure they did. Everybody kind of does. They're all, kind of special.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we see. They're all like special. They all like, oh, his wife got burned by her dad. Oh, to remind her of her place, and then like, oh, he was forced to become an assassin. Oh, she grew up as the black sheep. She was the weakest or whatever, and since she's a girl, like she cannot become an executioner. She should just stay with the children.
No. It reminded me.
There's a lot of that, actually.
It reminded me of so many things. Like, that reminded me, that setting of, like, oh, because she's a girl, even though she's in this, like, family of, doing whatever, like, she can't be, like, as strong as. It reminded me of, like, Naruto. In Naruto, oh my god, Hinata. Hinata is in the family of, like, of the, eyes, like, the whatever.
Byakugan holders.
Yeah, Byakugan. Like, I think... White Eye. But anyways,
the Hyuga clan, Neji or something.
Yeah, and like she was always like weak and whatnot. But then like, it's not like we kind of like get this pity party, like the whole story. It was kind of positive. Like she was like, yeah, I'm gonna be inspired and I'll fight. Like even in the tuning exams, like back in the day, like, oh my god, I love this tuning exams. I rewatched that one section all the time. And then it's like, even though she's not that good, like, she keeps on fighting. And then even if she loses, it's like, she literally fought to the moment she, like, lost consciousness. And then, like, for this main character, it's like, oh my god, I have so much trauma. It's like, I just can't reveal my true powers, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, that's cringe.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's a little different. There's definitely been... They try to spin it a little differently, right? So...
But I also just want to say, it's not that I hate this show. Like, honestly, I think it's better than, at least to me, better than the Idol show. What is it called again? Oshinoko?
Oshinoko.
Yeah, and to me, it's better than Masteru. Like, I don't... to me.
I mean, we did Oshinoko, then we did
Masteru, yeah. Yeah, I know that you probably like Masteru better, but like, for me, like, again, I just want to say, like, even though I'm shitting about it, like, it's more that I hoped for more, but then it didn't really satisfy that. So then I'm talking about it in this negative sense, but I am not a hater to everything. I'm just like, I hope it did better, but it's okay.
Yeah, would you say you're more nitpicking right now?
No,
Like,
I don't think so. I think it's a
Yeah.
I think it's a big problem.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I actually cut it out the like 2 times before, like that I'm studying anime, like that part. But then I am studying anime, and then back in the day, I really wanted to do either manga editing or anime, like in the industry. Like, I'm not trying to say like some of like the viewers, like, yeah, I do think that everyone has a very justified point of view, but at the same time, me too. Like, I have some training and some authority in the things that I'm talking about, you know? Like, I study this. So then, I don't think I'm nitpicking. I think that these are actual problems, but I'm not saying that these are, like, consciously made problems. Like, first of all, I think that maybe the author might have been a little not confident. Maybe it's the anime, like, being really short. It's, like, a lot of factors that would like cause this problem that I have about the show. So I don't think it's like nitpicking things that like don't have any importance. It's more just like me just trying to be critical just because I like being critical.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you should just say it, you know, like you have expertise, like for example, like that's how you get away with stuff, right?
Yeah, to be quite honest, sometimes
That's
it's more like your status gets you away with stuff rather than like your smarts, I guess.
Yeah, let's just say like if I didn't say like, hey, like I'm just a challenger player, like this is my take on that, like I will not get like a good reaction, because then I would just be like what are your credentials? Like, why should we believe you? You just show them the proof, or just like say like, oh, this is what I've done, this is what I've experienced, and then yeah, so that's how you like kind of.
Yeah, but I do want to just like keep it kind of like our podcast, even though no one's really listening, like be kind of like light and like, oh, I'm just talking about whatever the fuck I'm talking about, and then I don't have any credentials. But I do want to say like, in this case, like, I don't think I'm nitpicking. I do think that I do have credentials. I analyze anime for, like, literally it's what I do every day. And so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe just, you know, you can leave that part in. You're just like, it's...
We'll see.
Yeah,
it's just... I listen to it back. But yeah. It's whatever. But like, again, Jigokuraku, like, I know that the author is actually the assistant of Chainsaw Man's author. So then, like, they are a newcomer. So then, I'm not saying that this is so bad. Like, they should not draw manga anymore. No, it's like, this is like one of their first works. Like,
it's great.
Yeah. This, like,
very impressive.
His or her, I don't know, their art is so good. And then, like, it makes sense, like, that I was, like, seeing, like, the background information of this story, and then, like, they were trying to make it, rather than a main character thing, he wanted to make it, like, an ensemble thing. So then I understand, like, they wanted to have this kind of, like, oh, everyone has a backstory, everyone is important feeling, but to me, it was just, like, oh my god, I need like a better way to ease into it rather than having it all in the first like 3 episodes, which is less than an hour, like, or just an hour long. And it's like,
yeah, I mean, now that I know that, like, it makes me forgive it. Like, basically, I would, you know, keep on watching it because, right, if you're a newcomer, you get better very fast. Like, you can learn how to do it very well within like the first however many hours like that you put into, and then the rest is just honing it. So then like he's just learning the first like 5 episodes, maybe 6 episodes, and then he'll like come into his own like later on, so it might actually become like really, really good.
Possibly. So, like I don't really know, I mean, because like again, I only like saw the last part and I was like, oh, like I don't know how it became like that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just,
if this is like the beginning, then it's off to a great start.
Yeah, it is his beginning, and honestly, it's so impressive that like it's his like career beginning, and you get adapted by Mappa. Like, it's at least like it means that Mappa as an animation studio saw a lot of potential in this IP, right? It's like that's crazy. Like, to be quite honest, that is very impressive. But
first
like,
time, sure.
Yeah,
that's crazy. No, I mean, that's very impressive then. Like, there are some inconsistencies, but that's to be expected.
Again,
other than that, I'm not. Of course, we're gonna do Demon Slayer right after this.
Yeah, I actually want to do that too. Actually, even though I do also, again, Eden, who might be listening, I will watch the one that you recommended, which is like, is it Tengoku no Naimakyo or something?
That one's great.
I've heard from her and like from you that it's apparently really interesting. But yeah. On a random note, I also just suddenly thought of Summertime Rendering.
Oh yeah. That one's
actually because like, you know, I'm on Bilibili a lot, like, so then I see a lot of like Chinese fans talking about it. Everyone has said the manga is so much better than the anime, and then the anime cut off a lot of details that were actually really integral to how they like solve the whole puzzle. And then it's like everyone was saying that it's actually so like intricately like laid out. It's kind of like Death Note-y, but then the anime had to cut things out to fit into however, like, was it like 24 episodes or something? Like,
yeah, you know, it was like 24.
Yeah. And then it wasn't, it was kind of like, oh, they had to like end it in a kind of like, oh, everyone's happy kind of way, rather than like, oh, I'll do all the steps. But then, yeah, like, all of a sudden, I just remembered that. I was like, oh, that was a great work. But then, yeah, there were some, like, hiccups that I didn't really like. But then, eventually, I still felt like seeing the ending and everything, it felt pretty, like, good. But yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm not a contrarian. I'm not a hater to everything. I'm just critical. A lot of the time.
Oh my god. Yeah, for sure. I mean, what would you rate this one?
I would rate it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10?
Yeah. Higher than a lot of things I've rated.
I would give this one a... See, here's the thing, right? Like, I would not... Like, to preface this before I say it, like, this is a 5 out of 10.
You
however,
gave Oshinoko even higher.
Yes, I would actually I would say that Oshinoko was pretty. This one was just very gory and kind of disturbing, and then also didn't make sense. So
I thought this was so pretty. Like, I didn't like Oshinoko's art style, but okay. I know that we have different taste in art style. This, like, all of the dead bodies, like the fucking flowers, are so pretty.
Yeah, I did not particularly enjoy that.
Okay.
Like, that seemed kind of... I don't like gore for gore's sake. I don't like death for death's sake. Like, just to have that happen.
I don't like gore, but I like grotesque things. So yeah, I
sure.
get it. I get what you mean, though.
Yeah, I mean, Oshinoko also had some gore. It's like...
the blood.
We don't...
Yeah, I don't like blood. I don't like blood, but I like weird corpse. Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah.
Taste.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just a 5 out of 10 for the first 3 or 4 episodes that we watched. There's a lot of times where it just went off on tangents, and we kind of could not see the main story. Skipped around a little bit. Like, we missed the first few days on the islands or something.
No, we didn't skip around. It was just I just remember me being like, oh god, can we go back? I think we just fast forwarded some parts. I don't think we missed anything. It was kind of just slow. Again, it's too slow and too fast to me. So, the pacing is bad.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, so... That's pretty much what I thought.
Fair. Like, I think that we have different tastes. I like this more than the 2 previous works that we've watched together. But yeah, like, I respect it, but yeah, like, I have problems with this, but at the same time, I also see the potential. I really like the art, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I might keep on watching it. We'll see.
For sure, for sure. Well, we'll see you guys later. Comment if you're out there.
It's okay. It's okay. Do whatever you want. Thank you.
Yep. See you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.